Welcome back to JHL Cinema Clash. Today we'll be discussing the reboots of Freddy and Jason. So what do you guys think about this news that we just got in?
I'm super hyped. Me being a horror fan, I'm hyped like a motherfucker. How about you, Laz?
I think the toughest thing they're gonna encounter is casting for Freddy, bro.
Of course.
Jason,
It's,
who gives a shit? Tall guy with a
Yeah.
mask. He doesn't even talk.
yeah,
But Freddy?
replacing Robert, it's really hard. Plus he's like 80 years old. So I hope he has like a little cameo, but replacing him is gonna be super hard. I heard that they were actually looking at Jim Carrey. And that would be crazy.
I mean,
It's
I
a-
can kind of see it.
It's hard for me to see because he's comedic, right? And the only movie
Mhm.
I've ever seen him play where it wasn't comedy was 21, I think. I don't know
Nah,
if
he
you remember
did
that movie.
the Truman Show too. You remember the Truman Show?
I don't.
Where his whole life was being recorded, where he thought it was his real life,
Yeah.
and in reality, it was just a show that they made
He's walking up some
since
stairs
birth.
and shit.
Yep.
Yeah.
That he goes to the end and he actually he's on a boat and he hits. Anyway, that's off topic. So I mean, I can see it, but to Laz's point, I haven't seen much of his
Yeah, horror, no. Like we saw what he did with the Grinch mask. What can he do with
Yeah.
a Freddy mask? The faces that he puts and everything.
21 was the closest thing to like horror in a way because it was like suspense and kind of scary. And he did a good job with that movie. I mean, maybe he would be a good cast for Freddy.
Let's see.
Well, we'll definitely see. So the Jason one also it's actually a prequel. So I don't think we're actually gonna see Jason per se. It's a Freddy, Friday the 13th, but it's about his mom and what she encountered before giving birth to, um, Jason itself. Or I think he dies, some shit like that.
Well,
They show
the-
like a little clip.
so the story is she sends him to camp. He ends up drowning, and then she wants the camp to close so badly that she starts killing people inside the camp and there's people making shit up, not knowing it's her. And the chick that actually is gonna play the mom, it's Vilma. You know, the one that played Vilma in the Scooby Doo.
Yeah.
Scooby Doo Papa. She's actually the one's gonna play the mom.
That is tough to see her play because that's the lady that's Hawkeye's wife, right? If I'm not tripping.
No idea. The one of Scooby
Think
Doo.
so.
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
so weird to see her play a role like that, though.
I mean,
Yep. Linda, I think her name is. Listen, Linda, listen.
Linda.
Yeah.
So I think it's gonna be good, and then I hope they do it by like episodes, and then Jason starts coming out. I feel like they're playing it a little bit more safer than Freddy though, because Freddy supposedly is coming out in a full-blown movie for movie theaters.
Well, the whole thing is, I'm sure that what they're doing on Peacock, which is a little smart to me, where they're doing episodes to see what they actually get in reference to publicity. And if it does become something big, I'm sure then they'll release something that will go into like tie into Jason's story per se.
That makes more
Makes sense. Yeah, it does.
Yeah. I'm sure they're gonna try to see what's the actual publicity, and then they'll be like, all right, let's do a movie, but it has to tie into what we already created. That way, it can kind of make sense on the storyline itself. At least that's
Yeah.
what I hope for, right? Because what you would hate to see is you see this prequel, right? And then you go to the movies, you're like, what the fuck? This doesn't even tie into
It's a whole
what
different mom.
Yeah, a whole different mom. Not even the
pull a DC.
storyline. Yeah,
Yeah.
pull a straight DC. That's crazy. So do you guys think with what we've been seeing lately with horror films, right? With the psychological horror films that we've been getting, do you think that with those kind of films being so popular right now, do you think slashers have a place in today's horror films, or do you think because Scream did so bad, right? Scream 7 did so bad, and it's considered a slasher movie, and and it was nowhere near to what we were used to and accustomed to. So do you guys think they have a place right now in what we've been seeing recently?
Well, I believe so. And like you said, Scream did have a big flop. I guess they played with him way too much. But with Freddy, as long as I'm hoping like the movie that they make, I hope they don't make a recent one. I hope it's like an old school type movie, obviously, but now I hope they make him demonic, like something to be afraid of, because Freddy does have that I'll mess with you, poke you here and there. No, if you make this character the way he used to be in the beginning, like we say,
In the beginning?
in the beginning, I think is a good, at least for Freddy. I'm excited for Freddy. He's one of my favorite horror movies.
So remember with Freddy itself, right? He was kind of comedic at times too, where I would like to see more of a serious Freddy, and I would like to see give me a full blown reboot where it's the beginning of his story, where he's just starting. It's never been Freddy, not like trying to tie into something that was already done. Like, give me a brand new reboot, and I'm okay with that. Even if you use the first movie, right, and make that newer, where it's better on the CGI. It's has kind of the same flow that Freddy had. That's okay with the comedic stuff, but give him more serious and more
Yeah.
vicious, where you're like, damn, this guy is scary, right? You don't want to see kind of like the Scream, where they brought him too much jokes, and you were like, man, what's going on here? This is not what I came to watch, you know?
But like I said, with Freddy, you have a good story because you could use different people that had the certain type of dreams, in Elm Street, and him now killing that person. Instead of seeing the other side of the story, you can see some other story. But like we said, have Freddy be more demonic, have him be a little bit more gory. I don't really need a lot of jump scares, because if you do a lot of jump scares, it gets away from fearing the character, because you open a can of tuna really loud and that scared everybody in the theaters, but you wasn't you want to expect more seeing Freddy come out and fearing that character. And he's a super iconic character to have. He's not like Jason or Michael Myers. Jason you can run away from. Michael Myers you can try to hide from, but Freddy, you fall asleep and there's nowhere to go. And I feel like that's where his powerhouse is at. That's where his fear gets you at.
I'm not opposed to the reboot. I think not to be contradictory to the previous videos about reboots, but I think because this series of movies hasn't really been rebooted, it's been more so continuations of the beginning story. It'd be ideal for a reboot, especially for the newer generation that don't know much about Freddy, to see that backstory. And to your point, I'm not a fan of comedy and horror movie.
I'm
I
not either.
think that needs to like kill that and just give us that pure like horror. Like you don't want to go to sleep after watching it. That it's got to be that type of scary movie.
Well, that's why Elm Street is actually like that, because they had the one before, I forgot the name of it. It was more a little bit more comedic, and then they had him go more to the dark side. And that's when people started being like, "Oh, wait, this is the Freddy that we actually are afraid of. You don't want to go to sleep and shit like that." So
So
let's see what
contrary
they do.
to what Jay said, I want them to be jump scares, but I don't want it to be jump scare without nothing happening. I want to
Hmm.
see a jump scare and fucking Freddy stabbing someone into the
Of
stomach
course.
and lifting them,
Hmm.
and fucking going all through their chest, slicing through them. Like
He's done
old
it
school.
before.
Yeah, yeah,
Hmm.
like old school. That jump scare that you're like, oh my, it's not only
Yeah,
a jump scare, but it's like, holy shit, he just ripped that whole shit up. I want to see something like that.
of
I
course.
I
That's
I like jump scares. I actually enjoy where you're like, motherfucker, you got me. Like,
hmm
not a lot of them get me. I've seen a few recent movies, right, where I was expecting more jump scares, and I didn't get that. I got opposite of that. Um with these kind of reboots, right, guys? who do you think they should cast for Freddy? I know Jay said they were thinking about Jim Carrey, but who do you guys think would be a good fan casting, right? If you had to choose anybody, which one you think would be like, man, if this guy played Freddy, he looked dope.
It's actually, I'm gonna be honest, I actually like when horror movies actually cast people that have a little bit to their name because I feel like they give it their all. And that can be a good because it's hard to see with someone with such a big name like Jim Carrey that will he play the part to his fullest? Well, it's Jim Carrey, he probably will, but other big names like
Yeah,
that.
yeah, I was gonna say guys like Jim Carrey are iconic, but he's gonna play the part well. Why? Because his name's attached to it. It's kind of like Denzel Washington, Will Smith, those kind of characters. All of those characters are people that are chameleons. Where hey, you want me to play this part? I'll play that part, and I'll try 100% because I'm attached to the name now.
I have someone that I know in the past I've said I don't like them as an actor, but I think he would fit this role perfectly, and that's William Dafoe. I think he would absolutely crush
I
that
think so
role.
too.
Mm-hmm.
Not only will he
is.
crush it, he has the persona. I can see that persona. I can
Yeah.
see it. I actually like that casting. That would be a great casting too.
It's hard. It's hard to find a Freddy, especially you're taking out what the character that played Freddy, and he did a hell of a job. So to fill his shoes up is big shoes to fill up.
So yeah, and here's the crazy thing. I try to see that guy in different movies, and he sucked at all of them.
Well,
He
yeah.
was Freddy.
He was Freddy.
Yeah.
That was who he was, Freddy.
Yep.
You saw him in anything else, you were like, bro, this ain't
he's
you.
He's done a couple of comedy movies too, hasn't he?
No,
he was out in.
He's done a little
Stranger
bit.
Things.
He's done a few things where you're like, nah, I'm good, bro. I'm gonna back to being Freddy.
I'm gonna be honest. I just hope they don't mess up the Freddy face. I hope they don't do too much CGI because it starts looking weird. What they did in 2010, I said this in the video before, it was so bad. Like it was horrible.
But I'm not opposed that in the dream world that there is CGI. I just hope it's not cartoony CGI. I just hope it's not that where you see it and you're like, man, that just looks so bad. I hope it looks kind of like these and I'm gonna go back to what I love, right? I love superheroes. Everybody knows I love superheroes. I need them to go to something like that where that CGI, where those special effects looks amazing, something like that. Give me something like that in those dream worlds where shit is exploding and you can see it and you're like, man, you live in that world, I want to see something like that where it's not all CGI like cartoony, kind of like Laz's favorite Justice League, where I don't know if you guys know in Justice League when Flash is going to punch Superman, if you look at Superman, he has a mustache, and they use the Shrek CGI to remove it, and he looked like Shrek's mouth, a cartoon mouth, and you're like, man, this shit look bad. So I just hope they don't do something like that and fuck up Freddy for real. To your point, where they use that on his face, and you like, man, I'd rather not even watch this.
Yeah.
And here's the crazy thing. They can create a fucking talking monkey in Caesar and Planet of the Apes, right? CGI'd like a motherfucker where you're like, man, he looks realistic. I want to see something like that. If you're going to use CGI, make it like that.
I actually want them to go with makeup. I want the
makeup would be dope.
They need to bring that back, bro. That was an era of filmmaking that I feel like was very good, bro. Like the makeup and prosthetics have gotten so good with the exception of Lobo. But they've gotten so good now that they should really use prosthetics.
Yes. Especially with a character like Freddy. He has that burnt face to him, and that character gets to use his face, the facing reactions.
And if they are going to use CGI, if they are going to use CGI in that instance where they have the prosthetics in the face, right? A lot of times with the prosthetics, you can't really see a lot of their facial reactions. And that'd be a good opportunity for you to maybe introduce a little bit of CGI, kind of like how they did with the Spider-Man mask, where you can see facial expressions through the mask. But don't go full CGI on that shit, bro.
So no,
can't.
if you're gonna do the burn face, right, and do prosthetics, whoever did Deadpool's face, I need him to go to do Freddy's face.
Yeah.
Because that Deadpool face is very similar to the Freddy face, and Ryan Reynolds' face, you can tell when he was smiling, when he was saying something sarcastic, when he was pissed off. You saw all those reactions in his face, and that was all makeup and prosthetics being attached to his face. It's true that they last like 6 hours doing the shit, but it looked fire. It was worth it.
Even the Freddy prosthetics, right? Like they would, if they knew they were going to be filming for the next 72 hours, he would keep all that shit on because taking it off and putting it on would literally peel his skin off. You know, if you repeatedly, doing that over and over and over again. So he would just keep that shit on.
I just hope that whoever's writing this, I hope that they stick it old school, have it clean, don't go too much. I feel like sometimes when you do too much, you fumble the bag. Stick to what you know. Get some pieces from the other movies, but still have a new one. Have Freddy looking badass. I want him to be demonic. I want him to be scary. I want him to have, like Hydo said, those jump scares. We need those jump scares, not a stupid one. Something that it's him involved, like Hydo said, him getting stabbed in the chest and seeing Freddy, or when the kid is waking up or whoever's waking up, it's actually a dream and he's facing Freddy. Jump scares like that are great. But like silly jump scares, like when something falls or something like that, not opposed to it. But like I said, whoever's making this Freddy movie, I hope they hit a home run with this one. Especially it's my favorite character.
Absolutely. Guys, let us know what y'all think in the comment. Go ahead and like, follow, subscribe. And if you don't, suck my...